All right, there's the official recording announcement. We are going to, first of all, thank you for joining us here on this Wednesday. And we're going to go ahead and roll straight into questions. If you have a question for AJ, feel free to raise your hand and we'll get to as many questions as we can. And to kick us off, we're going to start with Marty. Go ahead, Marty.
Thanks, Amanda. What's up, AJ? How are you, bud?
Hey, Marty. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. So I got two for you. First off, your road racing experience here at MidOhio. I know you won the inaugural event in 2013, and you raced in it last year, or, well, the last time we were at MidOhio, I should say, excuse me. I'm just curious from your perspective, where are the passing zones you have seen at this race?
There are none. You got to make your own passing zones. It's for sure a challenge to pass at this racetrack. You know, with an Xfinity car, the way the tires start to go away, and you get from start to finish, you get a big difference in lap times from the start of a run to the end of a run. So it gets a little easier to pass, but still, it definitely, if you get through turn one, you can get a good run there up into turn two and make a passing zone out of that. And then at the end of the back straightaway, good passing zone there as well. And then, you know, through the infield, you're kind of single file. With our cars, we have the luxury of being able to use the bumpers a little bit and be able to force somebody into a mistake if that's what you have to do. But if you kind of don't really do that and there's not a mistake, it's kind of single file back until you get back to the start finish line for the most part. But the thing is, it's really easy to wheel hop or lock a tire up in an Xfinity car, especially as the tires start to go away. So that's where on new tires it's tough, but as the tires go away, you have more passing opportunities in the infield from drivers making mistakes.
Second question, I know it's really a little thing to worry about. However, though, I'm kind of curious. You know, I know when you guys take the green flag at MidOhio, I know some of the drivers in the back of the pack start from the last turn instead of the straightaway. And I know from your perspective as a driver in IndyCar or IMSA, you guys are taking the green in those other series after the keyhole. Would you be interested in seeing NASCAR do that possibly in the future?
No, I mean, honestly, Marty, for me, it's not that big of a deal if wherever we do the starts and restarts. You know, I mean, it obviously as you get further in the pack, it's probably better to start back there. But you know, these things don't stop very quick at the end of the straightaway, so it's easy. I think you would actually have probably a lot more wrecks starting it on the back straightaway there because you get so many cars carrying speed into the corner there, and you have a lot of probably cars getting run off either running off the racetrack themselves or getting run into and getting forced off the racetrack. So I honestly don't mind where we start the race there on the actual traditional start finish line.
Understood, man. Thanks for the time. Good luck this weekend.
Appreciate it, Marty. Thank you.
All right, our next question is going to come from Lee Spencer. Go ahead, Lee.
Thank you, and thanks for joining us, AJ. Knowing your relationship with Shank, what was going through your mind watching Elio on Sunday?
Well, hey, Lee. Yeah, I mean, still in the moment shaking. I mean, quite literally shaking in my living room, crying, just knowing what my brother Mike Shank has been through to get to that point. All the ups and downs, all the struggles. You know, the last few years, it's the partnership that he's had with Honda and Honda HPD has been a big deal to him because up until then, he never really had any manufacturer support. Ford a little bit when we won Rolex, but I mean, it wasn't like a major thing where he was a part of the company, and Honda's really stepped up and allowed him to kind of go after what his goals were. And it started with the GTD program into the IndyCar. And then now with the prototype program and with the full-time IndyCar, now with Elio running a part-time second car. So we've been together. We've seen all the ups and downs for each other, and we've stepped up for both of our lives at times, trying to help the other person. So Lee, I mean, that's probably a long answer, but just crying and just so happy for Mike, for Mary Beth, for everybody at Shank Racing, Jim Meyer, And then Elio, because I've gotten to know Elio as well when I was teamed up with him at Team Penske and just covering IMSA and talking to him. So for him to win his fourth like that after maybe thinking that he wasn't going to get another opportunity, I mean, it was just such a great day all around. And I'm just so happy for the whole group, but especially for Mike and Mary Beth, because they're family to me. And that's it was almost even for me standing there like it wasn't real. And just seeing the pure joy on Mike's face, standing on start finish line, just all of it. I could talk about it for hours. So just so happy for him.
Well, I figured with your relationship with Shank and the fact that you know what it's like to come close to winning that race, and I figured if anybody understood it from, a friend of Shank or, almost like family to Shank, you would get it.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's just, I love the guy. I mean, he's one of my best friends. He's a big brother to me. He's done everything in his power to make sure that I'm in his race cars at Rolex and more in general. I mean, it goes on and on. And pure joy is the biggest understatement I probably could ever have, because there's so much more that goes into my emotion to watch Mike be able to win the biggest, one of the biggest races in the world, and the biggest race for sure in the world for him, something that he's always wanted to be a part of, and not just be a part of, but especially to go out there and win the race, and to do it with Elio and have Elio become the fourth guy to win 4 Indy 500s. I mean, just, it was an amazing day. It made, my Saturday didn't end very well and in the Xfinity race at Charlotte, and it made all that go away, just because that's like that, that's all that mattered to me was that pure joy for him. And just, I called him and texted him, and I hope I actually get to see him this weekend. There's a chance he may be at MidOhio. So if he gets it, he's a little bit busy, but he may actually have the off weekend and be able to make it. So I hope to get to see him, because it means the world to me for what has happened. And I mean, that's a long answer, but I love him to death. I'm so happy.
How have you seen other drivers in NASCAR kind of up their game on the road courses? Because that was always like your primary discipline, but to be good and to win championships, you have to be good everywhere. And what do you think has been the biggest thing that we've seen an uptick in just the overall performance of guys that probably grew up on nothing but ovals?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a quite simple answer, really. It's just time and energy put into road course racing. I think back in the day when there was only 2 road courses, I think probably in that 80s and 90s kind of era, and even into the 2000s, it was like, all right, for most people, it was like, let's just get these done and get them over with. And they become more important into the championship factor, as if you win one of them, then, you're locked in and things like that. So I think drivers have just put a lot of energy and time into it, and so have the teams. And now with NASCAR adding more to them, it's that much more critical. So I believe that's why you see so many drivers now are so good on road courses. And on top of it, between whether it's sim work and going out to different schools and things like that, I think there's more opportunities to be better at road course racing if you put the effort in.
Appreciate your time. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you, Lee.
Okay, our next question will come from Dustin Long. Go ahead, Dustin.
Thank you. Hey, AJ, I want to ask you about Justin Marks. I don't know. I mean, I know you were teammates in 2019 at Rolex. How well do you know him, or was it just that experience, or have you kind of known him through the years with Pass Crossing?
No, I've known Justin for a long time now, and I consider him a good friend of mine.
Okay, I just want to check on that because I'm curious. In the years that you've known him, did you ever envision him being a car owner like he is? And I kind of get the sense in talking with him, a lot of times he kind of views things from a different perspective. And, I think if you went through the garage and kind of looked kind of randomly, said, well, maybe this guy could be an owner, this guy's not going to be in the sport. Did you ever have him pegged as somebody who would be an owner and try to do something different in this fashion?
I could always see it for sure, Dustin. I mean, he was a guy that loves motorsports in general. And, whether it was the sprint car team with Kyle Larson and other adventures, GoPro Motorplex here in Mooresville, and just other things that he's done. I for sure could have seen him being a team owner, and I would be. I was a little bit shocked that he's done it so quick and be able to put together the deals to make sure that not only he's a team owner, but he's in competitive equipment with a really strong driver. And you bring in somebody like Pitbull that is just, you know, when it comes to the world side of what we do and just entertainment is a whole nother side of it. So, you know, Justin is a guy that thinks outside the box. He's always trying to figure out a way to make this more cost effective for just motorsports in general, because that's what we need to keep bringing people in, is to make this at least affordable. And Justin's always been big in trying to figure out ways to make it affordable for everybody. But I think it's great. I mean, we need young team owners like Justin Marks. We need guys like Matt Collig that are coming in, and we love the team owners that we have, but we need also new team owners to come in to different motorsports and be a part of it, because it is such a small community. I know sometimes we get lost that we think motorsports in general is a huge community, but it's really not. So you need people like that to come in and keep this thriving. So I love what Justin's doing. I love the passion that he has for motorsports. You know, not only when it comes to the NASCAR side of it, the Nashville IndyCar race. I mean, he's got his hands in a lot of different things. So, and he's always been like that. And it's fun to see him have at least some success early to keep pushing him.
And also just on that is, obviously success will determine what impact he has and can have in motorsports in this type of role. But that being said, you know, what are the things you think he can make an impact in the sport, and you know, viewing things from a different way, or kind of doing it maybe the Justin Marks way that you know, maybe some others will pick up, or some others will even take a look at and refine in their own way?
Well, you know, what Justin does really well is not even so much thinking outside the box. I think he really gets ideas together and doesn't just kind of throw these ideas out here of like, this is what we should do. He has a lot of description and homework done with that. So I think that's what really can push Justin, not only in his team ownership, but to help motorsports in general be better and more affordable, because it's not just like, well, we need to be cheaper. Well, how? Well, I'm not sure. It just needs to be cheaper. He puts the time and effort and homework into trying to figure out how we make this cheaper. And, you know, you look at, you know, being a part of the Nashville race or things like that. Okay, how can we put on not just a race, but an event, a concert, a party that makes young and old want to be a part of it? And that's the stuff that Justin's really good at. And I've always loved talking to him about it, because he can and does find ways to make sure he's a part of it, or at least gives ideas how we can all think about it and go, okay, maybe we do need to really look into that and doing it this way.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dustin.
Okay, our next question will come from Claire B. Lang. Go ahead, Claire.
You've mentioned a lot of people that you said are very good friends of yours, and I'm not surprised, because I think the garage is your friend, right? It amazes me at the young drivers who come in who say, I don't really talk to anyone, you know, and then you find out that they just don't have friends within the garage, or that they've learned not to. We're going to a very aggressive track this weekend at MidOhio. I wonder, when you think about, is it true you can have friends in the garage? And is anybody not your friend, AJ?
Well, I got some people that, you know, probably don't like me very much. So I understand that. You know, my dad always taught me from day one when we showed up to a race, he said, if you want friends, we bring them with you. You know, we're not here to make friends. But I'm also at a different time in my life, Claire, because there was, you know, I came from open wheel racing where, I mean, you really, at least in that era of when I raced, like, you weren't that friendly with people, because you didn't need to talk to them. And it's a little, you know, in IndyCar racing was a little bit different, because you didn't have that all out contact every week where, you know, say I went and wrecked somebody, well, I might want to go talk to him because they're probably just going to come do it back to me. In IndyCar, if you wreck somebody, you probably take yourself out too. Well, that person's mad, but the next week, if they want to go wreck you, they're going to destroy their stuff too. So like that, we just didn't talk about it. You went and did and your teammate was almost at times your biggest enemy because you were compared to him. Justin Wilson showed me a lot because I was in awe of Justin when he came over to Roosport, the Champ Car team that I was on, because we were the same year in Champ Car, but he was like 10 years ahead of me in experience, and he was so good. And I just at times I was like almost in a shell. Like, I don't know if I can beat this guy. I don't want to talk to him because I don't want to feel weaker to him. And he was never like that. He would, if he beat me that weekend and I was starting to lose confidence, he'd pick me right back up because he always said, if you're weak, then I'm weak. If you're at your best, you're going to make me be even better. And that was something that I always took to heart. Like, okay, like, you don't have to be this guy that can be in your shell. But now NASCAR, when I got there with other drivers, I didn't, it was almost in a way the same mentality. I was scared to ask questions because I felt weak if I asked questions. And it took me a few years, and guys like Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson, Mark Martin, they'd come talk to me. And then I got, then it took me a couple of years of Tony Stewart being pissed off at me for him to come talk to me. And then we actually developed a good friendship. And so as my life has went on in NASCAR, I've been more open to talking. And I think that that's something that, for every person, it's different. But nowadays it's sure when I get to the racetrack, everybody's still my enemy. I want to go out there and beat them. But if you have contact and things happen, you get mad, you say your piece, you move on, and life goes on. It's not the end of the world.
Talk about what's tough about MidOhio and the aggression that people bring there, or parts of the track that are difficult even for you because you're a good road course racer.
Yeah, MidOhio it's basically a short track with left and right turns. It's very tight. I mean, you got one decent size straightaway, but you compare it to like a Road America or even Coda, like straightaway's not that long either. So it's you have to beat and bang on each other to get around each other. You're gonna have contact at some point during the race. And MidOhio also is very slick. It's always been slick, but I remember 2019 after not being there for 6 years. I mean, I thought the track felt like an ice rink. Like, it was slick. And on top of it, it uses the tires really, really harshly too. So there's a lot that goes in the racetrack. I wouldn't say there's one area that stands out that's way tougher than the others. Track position is always going to be critical, saving your rear tires. And then if you do get, like I start 12th, like you got to be careful not to use your stuff up and start beating and banging on each other early in the race. But it's going to happen. It's a short track with left and right turns.
Can't wait. I wish you good luck. Thank you for your time. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Our next question will come from Jordan Bianchi. Go ahead, Jordan.
Hey, AJ, appreciate your time today. Wondering if Matt or Chris have kind of broached the subject of Cup next year with you at all, and you moving with them full time to Cup.
Yeah, Jordan. I mean, to be fully honest, I haven't really talked to him about it. Okay. I think they're still trying to figure out in their plans of what it's going to look like next year. I know there's a lot that goes into trying to find a charter and things of that nature, and a lot of stuff that I don't have to worry about. So, but I hope they know, because I tell them a lot. I tell it to all of you in the press that I love being a part of college racing. I love trying to help develop this organization to be better, because this organization is making me so much better as a race car driver, and I'm really enjoying it. And I love being around Matt and Chris and all the men and women at college racing. Like, it's generally fun. Sure, race day, you walk by me, I'm tense and I'm nervous and I want to be at my best. And if it doesn't go well, I'm going to be pissed off, the same as I've always been. But I know the team's truly the atmosphere is a family. We have got each other's backs. So I thoroughly enjoy it. So to answer your question, I don't know what next year looks like. I do know that I'd love to be part of this organization in one way or another, whether that's driving or trying to help further further the team. And if they think I'm making a difference, that's truly what's the most important thing to me, is that, you know, I'm a small part of trying to make college racing better each time we're on the racetrack, and is the, you know, since 19 and 20 and 21 and as years go on, hopefully trying to be a part of it to make this team great, because it's on the verge of being great, especially in the Xfinity series. But we all know the Cup series, that's a whole nother animal. But, you know, I think with the leadership and the passion that Matt Colleague has, and you keep adding the right people like we have at College Racing, I mean, it can get there.
The mantra has kind of been having fun this year. You want to have fun. Does going to the Cup Series full time, and does that sound fun to you? I mean, you look at the schedule, it sets up kind of favorably to your strengths.
Well, I mean, fun is always fun's an interesting word, right? Because like you want winning race. Roger Penske told me this at the Indy 500. I said, Roger, I really appreciate the opportunity. Man, this is going to be fun. And he said, well, AJ, I appreciate that, but you know what's fun? Winning's fun. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that I got you on that. So running up front consistently, that makes it a lot more fun. That's why in these Xfinity cars right now, I love showing up to the racetrack, because I know at our best, we can go win any place that we go to. But the Cup Series is different. But with that said, at the same point, it's one of those things that if everybody's on the same page of what your goals are, and you go out there and it's like, okay, today the goal is to run top 20, and you run in the top 20 and you can walk away being happy. Sure, it's not a win, but you got to have realistic goals. It's when those goals start separating from different people of what they expect and what you expect. That's when the fun starts to go away, and that's when it's a challenge. So we've been at least that I've been here, we've all been on the same page, and that's what makes it fun, good or bad.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, AJ, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it, and we wish you the best of luck this weekend in MidOhio.
Thank you, everyone. I always appreciate everything that you do. So thank you.